good afternoon, and welcome to the final day of Commerce Week. My name is Somilantinge, and I'm from the marketing team within Milpark. Joining me today is Serame Ramasojana, who is the head of School of Commerce, and we have Lesray Bota, who is the head of department. We also have a list of a guest of panels that will be joining us today, and Lizray will be introducing them shortly. And for those of you who are new on this Crowdcast platform, here's a few things to take note of. On the right-hand side of your screen, you will notice that we have an interactive chat screen. Please say hi, tell us where you're watching from. We would love to hear from you. We also have a poll running. Please vote yes or no whether we should contact you regarding our information on our courses. We also have an ask a question box. Please pop in all your questions and we will get to those once during our questions and answers segment. And now I'm going to hand over to Serame to talk to us briefly about Milpark and how we fit into the Stadio group. Over to you, Serame.
Thank you so much, Somila. Thank you. I really appreciate your invite for me to be here. I'm not sure if you can show the slides from your side so that we can go through. Welcome, everybody. It is my pleasure to be here this morning, or rather this afternoon. It's already 12. And this is the second day of our Commerce Week. We started on Tuesday. Before we go for today's session, on Tuesday, we had a successful session where we discussed, amongst others, entrepreneurship, and also we had students who are running their own business. So today's focus is all about our academics team, which we will discuss later on. So before we go in detail, I just wanted to show you a bigger picture of us as Milpark Education. How do we fit into the whole Stadio group? And then so that you can see the difference between the different other brands that are in the whole group. Us as Milpark, you can see we are on our left-hand side of the screen. We are part of Stadio. We are a subsidiary of Stadio Holdings. Stadio is a listed company on the JSE. So it oversees all these other brands. So below that, there's also Stadio, which consists of SBS, Embary, Lysoft, and Prestige Academy. All of them are now form part of Stadio. And we also have After. After is also a standalone entity. After deals with film, drama, theater, and fashion. So these are three main entities which operates differently from each other within the Stadio group. And we are all sister companies. If you go to the next slide, Somila, where we now discuss us, Milpark Education, and in particular, the School of Commerce, because the focus today is our School of Commerce. Milpark was established in 1997, can you believe it? Almost 23 years ago. And we started offering very specific financial planning and banking qualification in that period. But now we have expanded from offering certificate up until now, we are offering doctorate degrees, which is, for me, it's a very significant milestone or achievement over these years. And we've got offices in Johannesburg and Cape Town. So one of our vision as the school is to provide Africans the opportunity to reimagine their future through flexible, accessible, supportive, and lifelong business education solutions. When I talk about flexibility, we offer flexible programs from BCom, BBA, Advanced Certificate in Management, and Higher Certificate in Management. And those BCom qualification have a different number of streams that you can choose from: banking, general stream, taxation, etc. So we make the education more flexible for you to choose. And also, accessibility is the key at Milpark. We offer we offer this variety of qualification through distance learning and distance learning online. And our students are all over the world. We've got students in the US. I think 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, we had a pleasure to welcome people from African countries in one of our learnership groups. and that demonstrates our commitment to to make sure that education becomes accessible to everybody in the world. And we support our students and also give business solutions to our students. But now, as I mentioned earlier on, this week was dedicated to be a commerce week, or entrepreneurship week. Let me put it that way. And in commerce, our focus is entrepreneurship. And because we know that in the country at the moment, South Africa, we have so many challenges, including unemployment, poverty, and access to education. So I think us as the School of Commerce, we have a very big role to play in terms of making sure that entrepreneurship becomes a milestone in our programs. Our faculty consists of various professional academic team. We've got accountants in our team. We've got tax professionals. You will see during the panel discussion, as we see, economists, entrepreneurship, HR specialists. So we have this vast experience of academics who are committed to making sure that we embrace our School of Commerce in entrepreneurial skills. So we therefore believe that, ladies and gentlemen, we are at the cornerstone in terms of making sure that entrepreneurship becomes a very successful tool to curb unemployment in the country. And through the programs that I mentioned earlier on, I think we'll be able to achieve that goal. Without further ado, let me introduce you to Liz Rebota, who's our head of department in School of Commerce, who will now take us through to the panel discussion that we have this afternoon. Over to you, Liz.
Thanks, Sarami. Well, good afternoon, everybody. I think Sarami already mentioned that entrepreneurship is a hot topic amongst our team and amongst our academics. And we thought, let's take that discussion and bring it to you guys so that you can see what we are thinking and maybe also get your input and your questions, which is very important for us. So what I want to do is I want to bring to the table, or to the screen rather, in this online world, our set of academics to start the discussion and have some fun. And like Samila already said, there is a live discussion and chat box on your screen. So if you want to add anything or add to the conversation or ask a question, you are so welcome to do that. Thanks, Sarami. Thanks, Samila. Okay, so I see Shira's face, so let me introduce Shira first. Shira is our tax professional of the team, and she'll be sharing her insights with us today. We've got Helen. Helen is the academic owner of entrepreneurship, and she's very passionate about this topic and the reason that she forms part of the panel. We also have Simba. Simba is your economics guy. So anything you need to know about economics, he is the person in the team that you go to. So thanks for being here, Simba. And then we have Sandile, which is our marketing guru. So he'll be sharing some insights with us today as well. Okay, so guys, thank you so much for joining us. We've discussed entrepreneurship quite a bit in our forums, in our meetings, and it is a hot topic for us. And we thought, let's bring that discussion to our students, our prospective students, to our stakeholders, and to the society at large to get their insights, hopefully their questions, and so that they can see what we discuss. Okay, so let's jump into it. And I want to go to Helen, the academic owner for entrepreneurship. Helen, just quickly talk to us about what do you think the traits are of an entrepreneurial mindset?
Good morning, everyone. Hi, Liz. Thank you for the question. There are many studies that have been done on the entrepreneurial mindset or disposition of entrepreneur. I'll just quote from the Alan Gray Orbis Foundation studies that were done in 2017. There are specific mindset characteristics, about 11 of them. So I'll just run through them. Number one is lifelong learning and openness to change. Someone who is very flexible and who enjoys learning. Number two, engagement in a complex and uncertain world. So like Elon Musk, for example, uncertainty, space travel. Number three, creative and innovative approach to problem solving. and also untested solutions, seeking untested solutions. Number 4, self-belief and confidence in one's own capacity and competency to be entrepreneurial. So you have to have that inherent drive within you. Number 5, desire, motivation, and intention to practice entrepreneurship and behave entrepreneurially. Number 6, taking initiative and personal responsibility for actions. I'll give an example of Sir Richard Branson and Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos participating in uncharted space travel and not taking life cover. That's Sir Richard Branson. So they take initiative and personal responsibility for actions. Number 7, a pursuit of goal attainment through personal mastery and value creation. Number 8, recognizing opportunities, an important one. And we teach this in our studies. Part of our assessment is opportunity analysis. Number 9, grit and perseverance in the face of challenges. 10, taking risks that lead to learning, growth, and value. 11, a belief in one's ability to influence. So those are some of the basic, many studies. There are many other descriptive phrases that you can come across. But in summary, they have to have an artistic vision, imaginative approach to capture and encash a business opportunity. So those are the entrepreneurial mindsets that I can share with the panel today.
Thanks, Helen, for sharing. I love that. You sort of also mentioned some big names, and it's good to just have an example with this trait, which I think is very relevant.
Yes.
When we think of those traits, Helen, are there any challenges to the entrepreneurial mindset that you want to share with us?
Yes, definitely. Entrepreneurs, like everyone else, face challenges. I'll just group them into 3 because of our time challenges. There is entrepreneurs, like everyone else, need to raise capital. They operate in the economic environment, macro and micro, and in a regulatory environment. So the 3 basic or main challenges are rapid technological disruptions. You know, technology is changing things all the time, so they need to adapt whatever business that they have in mind. There has to be a survival strategy if technology changes. So they have to be very innovative and adapt to new technological advancements. So that's where we come in. Education has become the driver of economic growth and development for generations to come. So we need to be able to contribute to our students gaining an innovative and creative approach or mindset. And then, of course, there is the regulatory barrier, which is the government and all the regulatory bodies. We need their support. Sometimes they are slow to come to the table, and also to support our entrepreneurs with the relevant funding from government. And then lastly, just a grouping, increased financial uncertainty.
Helen, you've mentioned a lot of very important items there. I'm going to try and touch on each one of them as we go. I think I want to give Simba an opportunity to sort of come in, and Shara as well, because you've mentioned beautiful things that I think we need to talk on. So Simba, on your side, with everything that Helen has mentioned, I sort of just want to pivot. Can you relate unemployment in South Africa to the lack of entrepreneurship?
All right, thanks, Liz. Good morning, everyone. So I'm going to answer like an economist. So we never give definite answers. All right. So the relationship is sort of ambiguous, because you can look at it from 2 angles. So the first angle is a situation in which you find that unemployment by itself can actually lead to entrepreneurship, right? Or to what we refer to as startups. But I think probably, Helen, you should be able to correct me the difference between a startup and entrepreneurship. So the first thing is, when you find that whenever there is high unemployment in the economy, it is going to force people to start their own businesses. All right. But now with that type of startups, you are also likely to find that they are not likely to survive for a long time. The reason is someone is being forced to do it. So as one of the factors that Helen was referring to, one of the problems is lack of capital, right? Entrepreneurship is one of our factors of production. But when you look at entrepreneurship, you also find that it cannot survive in isolation, all right? You need capital, all right? You need other resources that you can use. So that type of entrepreneurship usually does not contribute so much to reducing unemployment due to the fact that those businesses, they rarely survive for a long time because you are it's sort of a refugee effect. You are forced to start up the business because you're unemployed. Then the second strand, or the second opposing view to that, is what we refer to as, I think Helen also mentioned it, the Schumpeterian effect, right? Creative destruction, where you identify an opportunity that is in the economy, then you start the business, right? Those are the businesses that actually that might survive, and as they grow, right? So entrepreneurship is sort of an individual behavioral concept, right? Then it grows into a firm, then it contributes to the economy. So that is when you now find that those are the firms that are going to employ people, are the firms that are likely to survive, and then they contribute to the reduction of unemployment.
Well, I like what you said. We sort of talked about when we talked with Helen, she said creativity, finding innovative solutions in a rapid changing economy is sort of what an entrepreneur needs to look at. And Simba, you sort of now said that when that happens and you're unemployed, maybe sometimes you are forced to then start a business because you have this creative idea, you have this creative solution, you don't have employment, so you're forced to start a business. I think the question then becomes, if you have this creative idea, what is the financial literacy that you would need to not only start it successfully, but actually keep it going? So Shara, I want to ask you that question. In the most basic way that you could tell us, what would you say is financial literacy?
Hi, Liz. Afternoon, everybody. Thanks for the question. So in the most basic way, without complicating anything, financial literacy is basically the ability to understand and use different financial skills. So for example, budgeting, investing, the general financial management of your business. That is what financial literacy is.
Why would you say is a basic understanding of financial literacy important, Shira?
So basic financial literacy is very important, especially when you're starting up a business, because it keeps you in control of your business. As an entrepreneur, when you start up your business, you could have other people do the finances for you. But in order for you to be in control of your business and know exactly what's going on, you need to have the financial acumen to understand things like a profit and loss statement, what appears on a profit and loss statement. You need to understand budgeting. You need to understand what goes into a budget. How do I prepare a budget? What are budgeting techniques that I need to use? You need to understand the concept of debt. What is debt? What is equity? If I'm sitting in a position now where I'm in problems, do I invest in equity? Do I invest in debt? And having basic understanding of those things will help you to thrive in your business.
I so agree with you on that. Just the basics. You don't have to be a math whiz or economist or you don't have to have all of that knowledge, but the basic understanding is really important. So the basics that we teach in our degrees, how to understand and read and put up a budget, I think is important.
Yes, Liz, I agree with you there, because our BBA and BCom really, when it has the entrepreneurship module, it also takes into account accounting, which helps students and will provide that basic understanding for students with regards to the different techniques that you need to adopt and use in your business.
Absolutely. So maybe I should then just go to Sandile. Sandile, we've sort of touched on quite a various number of topics and things that we've mentioned, and I think we've mentioned people having this creativity, wanting to start up, and then for some reason within the first year, either the business doesn't flourish or there's not enough interest, something happens and then it fails. So my question to you, Sandile, in your opinion, why do you think small businesses fail within that first year? What are they lacking? Why are they failing?
You know, I was checking some research and I found that, firstly, good day, everyone. Good afternoon. What I found was the research is saying about 70 to 80% of businesses fail in their first 3 years or so while in business. And I think some of the points have been mentioned by Simba as well as to why businesses fail. But I would group them in two groups. They are those elements that are within the entrepreneur's control, because we know that an entrepreneur is taking a risk when they start this business. So there are elements that are within their control that make their businesses to fail. It could be issues of poor planning. Helen spoke about having a business plan, which is sort of preparing an entrepreneur to know what it is that they're getting themselves into, having, those financials, understanding what is profit, how do I make a profit, how do I price my product. All of those are elements of planning that are within the control of an entrepreneur. Of course, there could also be problems of trying to do all things. Entrepreneurs, when they're starting up, you find them doing everything. They're doing tenders, they're supplying, they do a whole lot of things, and that can lead to them burning out, running out, and not really making money, because if they're making money in one, they're spending it on something else because they're not focused. They're trying to be all things to everyone. That could lead to them failing within the first few years, right? And then, of course, lack of business skills. Others are not, every year they have to file annual returns with CIPC. They have to do tax compliance. Others fail because they're not doing the basics. They're not paying their accounts. The basics. But all of that is within the entrepreneur's control, and it can lead to them failing. And of course, poor marketing. They're not marketing their product. All of those could be elements, but it's within the owner's control or the entrepreneur's control, but they could not do it, which can lead to them failing. But of course, the second element is those that are external to the business. And I think my colleagues have mentioned those. For example, access to funding. It can lead to them failing, but it is not, sometimes it is outside of their control. There is no, venture capitalist or angel donor, angel funder who is willing to fund that business, and it can lead to them, never really making it. Lack of sales as well could lead to them not doing well, which is outside of their control. They could have a good product, but not have access to markets, which can then lead to them failing within the first few years. And of course, those factors that are outside, such as COVID, lockdowns, a lot of businesses closed down. It was outside of their control, but it led to them closing down. So on an overview, I would say those are some of the elements that could lead entrepreneurs to fail in their first few years.
I think you mentioned quite a lot of things. And I think, there's many reasons for a business to fail, like you just said. One of the things is the business environment and having that entrepreneurial mindset, like Helen said, to adapting to rapid changes with technology like we had with COVID. One of the other things you mentioned is things that an entrepreneur can control. For example, what Shira alluded to is having the basic financial literacy with budgets, drawing it up, the basic planning that you spoke about. And there is courses, our BBA and our BCom degree to help you with that, to ask questions when not known, because not everybody can know everything. That's okay. I think the first hurdle is understanding what you don't know and then asking the question, educating yourself and skills. But you mentioned something very important, and I just want to sort of ask that question again, seeing as we have you here and you are the marketing guru. So let's, for example, assume the entrepreneurs, they've got their degree, they've got their financial acumen, the environment is changing, COVID hit. And let's assume that they have a very good product and service offering to take to the market. Sandile, what would be, how can they do it? What is the tips? what is the tips that you have for entrepreneurs that just can't seem to bridge that gap between I have this beautiful product, but I'm just not getting the sales like you mentioned? What can they do? What should they focus on?
I think there could be a couple of elements that they could do, of course, but that skill, that marketing skill, can be, they can come to school and study a bit about marketing. And of course, there could be, elements of understanding the importance of marketing their business, knowing what, this is the product. And it goes back to that point of trying to do all things. If you know I've got a good product, you need to be investing in that product and ensuring that you understand what is my core product. What is it that I'm doing? If I'm a good mechanic, as an example, if I'm a good mechanic, I understand what it is that I'm good at. And maybe if my business skills is not so much, maybe I need to partner with someone else. Maybe that would be a tip. Partner with someone else who's good in admin, and I can focus on my, me fixing cars, because I'm good in fixing cars. But if you take me and, make me run a business, it becomes a problem, because I can't take a phone, I can't answer my phone when I'm under a car, such things, understanding what is my business, what is it that I'm doing, and where I'm lacking, can I partner with someone else? Also understanding marketing. All businesses need to have. I've never met an entrepreneur who says, I don't need marketing in my business, because as long as you need customers, that's an element of marketing. Then you need to attract those customers into your business. And if you're attracting customers into your business, we're talking marketing mix, you're promoting your business, you're pricing it correctly, you understand what's your core product. If you're in the service business, you understand what is my service that I'm offering. So marketing is the first. So that's a tip.
No, that's a brilliant tip. I think you said it very well. Whenever you need customers, you're definitely going to need marketing. So I think my follow-up question there is just, do you think social media is effective at all? Do you think that's something that entrepreneurs should use in their business to get their products out there?
Definitely. And you know what's nice about digital or social media is that it is so cheap. Gone are the days where you had to save a lot of money to place an advert in a newspaper and getting it out there. But what we see now is that with a Facebook account, with a Twitter account, you can get to call people to action, call people to buy your product, So it's very, very ideal for every entrepreneur to have social media presence. If you're baking cakes, take photos of those cakes, put them out there, you could get a customer anywhere in the world for that matter, and at zero budget, or at a budget of buying data bundles. So, that's the nice thing.
I like that. And I absolutely agree with you. In the world of TikTok and Facebook and Twitter, you can definitely get your product out there and reach your customers. So I love that. Thank you, Zandile. Now I wanna move to Helen, but I see Helen. I just want to stop quickly and just say, Helen, can you hear us? Oh, I think Helen dropped off. No matter, we'll come back to you in a second. Simba, let's just quickly come back to you. You mentioned, we talked about funding quite a bit. Shara mentioned it, and Sandile mentioned it. So I thought let's just get back to it for a moment. Was there anything that was mentioned in the budget speech that could help entrepreneurs or entrepreneurship, or the initiative of entrepreneurship in the country?
All right. Thank you, Liz. So I just went through the budget, just the highlights. And so there was a fund that was allocated to the small business development, basically focusing on township enterprises as well as rural enterprises. So there's quite a chunk of money that was allocated there, about 4 billion, if I'm not mistaken. So that is quite a huge chunk that people can actually try and tap into. But also there's always the traditional funding that is available to small businesses. You can go approach the DTI, you can approach the Youth Development Fund. If you also have a good business idea, you can always approach the bank, right? There's also various banks. They have small funds for small businesses. Even though I think so many people will complain that it is not as easy to get a fund, to get funding from the bank due to the various requirements, things to do with collateral and so forth, that a lot of people might struggle with. But yeah, so some people would say it's much easier to get a car loan or to get a house loan than to get a loan to start your own business. But I think there are various government agencies that are involved in that. Then also there's also funding that is also some organizations are also making available as part of their shared value or corporate social responsibility.
I like that. Okay, so Summer, you mentioned quite a few things there. There is initiatives in place because I think government also knows how important entrepreneurship is and what role it can play. And you did mention it's not always easy to get funds. There's avenues, but it's not always easy. And I think that goes back to what Helen said in the beginning with those 11 traits, that determination, that grip that you have to follow through and hustle. I think the millennials call it the hustle. To hustle for your business definitely has to be there to jump through all the hoops to get your business up and running and to get the funding that you need. Shara, from your side, can you mention any government initiatives for entrepreneurs from a financial perspective? Anything that you want to add to what Simba already said?
Okay, so like Samba said, that the government has allocated 4 billion over the medium term to rural enterprises and small enterprises. What we've also seen is that because of COVID, they've prioritized 540 million to the tourism sector. So I think they're trying to grow the tourism sector. So that's why they've reprioritized money into that sector, and they want to pump money into that sector so that we can get that sector going. We know tourism brings a lot of money into the country, and with COVID, it's been a bit of a nightmare at the moment to try and get people to actually come into the country and enjoy the lovely sites that we have in South Africa. So they are busy looking at reprioritizing money there. But the medium-term budget is going to happen on the 4th of November. So then we'll have more clarity from government as to the funding that they will have available for enterprises, and especially businesses that have suffered with COVID, and as well as the looting that took place.
Yeah, which we know is a reality, and it did impact our economy.
Yes,
Simba, maybe just back to you, and maybe just to sum up what you and Shara have already said. Do you have any predictions on how entrepreneurial growth can reduce unemployment in South Africa? Any predictions?
So I think to give a prediction, we know unemployment is quite high, approaching 35% right now, if you are looking at the narrow definition. But to sort of give prediction in terms of how entrepreneurship could actually result in a reduction in unemployment is quite difficult, right? The problem being it is a challenge to actually measure entrepreneurship, the level of entrepreneurship in an economy. But what we could do is, as a proxy to that, we could look at small businesses and try and see if we promote a lot of small businesses and they actually survive, that is likely to have positive spillover effects on employment levels. So we are likely to have a reduction in unemployment, which is, if you look at the countries that have the lowest levels of unemployment, those countries also have a high number of entrepreneurs, so people that are starting businesses, because they are likely to absorb a lot of labor. But it will be important to ensure that for that to happen, the businesses are not failing. So they are,
Yes.
like what Sandila was saying, they are likely to survive beyond 3 years. Then we can start having a dent on unemployment. So I would say if we have a lot of startups, a lot of businesses that can actually absorb a lot of people, that could lead to considerable job creation, new markets, and also new products becoming available to the market.
Yeah, I think that's something that we have always said as a team is we need to invest in those students that show those specific traits and mindsets of an entrepreneur, give them the financial literacy, give them a platform, show them how to do a business plan, point them in the right direction so that ultimately if they want to start a business, that it is sustainable and that they not only employ themselves, but a number of people, over 3 or 4, 5 years span, to make sure that it is a viable, sustainable business. So that's a good prediction. And I agree with you. And we'll see what the follow-up is on the 4th of November to know in what direction we can start preparing our students for. So I want to ask the next question to Helen. I just sort of want to see, Helen, are you back on? It seems that Helen is struggling a bit, but that's fine. What I just want to also mention is... Oh, sorry, Samila, you're back with your echo. Samila?
I've been trying to get Helen to join in. It seems like she's having more issues.
Okay.
So I'll try some
No,
more.
100%. Thanks, Samila. Okay, so one of the things which we definitely wanted to mention is that the student's entrepreneurial journey can start at any time, at any age. You don't have to be a youngster. You don't have to wait. Even if your kids are all grown up and now suddenly you want to start your business, you can definitely. It's never too old to learn. You're never too old to start your own business. And I think that's also something that we mentioned in terms of lifelong learning. One of those traits is lifelong learning. So Shara, if you won't mind, I'm going to ask you a question to do with our qualification and entrepreneurship. What would you say is the role of education in entrepreneurship development? In your opinion, can entrepreneurship be taught?
So yes, Liz, I think entrepreneurship can be taught because there's certain skill sets, like Sandile mentioned, that one needs to have in order to embark on your journey. So you might have this brilliant idea, but in order to put this idea and to mold it and to make sure that you can carry on with it, there's certain skill sets that you need. Like you would need the marketing, and you would need the certain entrepreneurship skills, which we teach in our degree, specifically in our entrepreneurship module, that can cover that and can help a student on their journey in order to fulfill their dream and make their dream a reality. So I definitely think it can be taught, and I definitely think that our degree has that ability to guide the students and put them in the right direction in order to embark on this journey that they need to overcome.
Yes, I think so. I think it's so important to make sure that you have the skills which would allow you to succeed. And that's why we add entrepreneurship and a very strong entrepreneurship focus in all of our degrees. So that at the end of your degree, if you are lucky enough to receive employment from a company, you can walk into that company and create a positive contribution within that company. But if you want to start your own business, the entire BBA and BCom qualifications within the School of Commerce is geared to allow you to take that first step of starting your own business with confidence. And that's why entrepreneurship and education for us as a team and as a school really walk hand in hand together with one another. Shira, I just sort of want to ask you about tax obligations. What tax obligations do small businesses have?
So when people hear the word tax, they want to run, right?
Yes, always.
Everybody's scared of tax. So there are tax obligations, and unfortunately, it's inevitable. We have to fulfill our tax obligations. So SARS website is set up so beautifully where it has all the details that you need on there. So when you're considering a business, you obviously need to start off and ask yourself, am I going to be a sole proprietor? That means I'm going to be just myself running this business, or do I actually want to be a company? And if you want to be a company, then you need to bring CIPC. So then you would need to register with the CIPC, which is the Companies and Intellectual Property Commission. And once you've registered with them, then you can obtain a income tax reference number from SARS. So then you can go and register with SARS and you can get your income tax reference number. And then depending on the type of entity you are, so you have different tax obligations for if you are a company, and if you have different tax obligations if you are an individual. So you would have, like, for example, if you want to go into the company space and you are a small business, there's small business corporations that are taxed differently to your bigger companies. There's also something called a turnover tax, which applies to micro businesses. So you could meet the micro business definition, and therefore you would be taxed in a different way. So there's different taxes that are applicable, and they're favorable taxes. So that even though the company tax rate is sitting at 28%, which we probably will drop now when we're looking at the new budget coming out. But if you're looking at a small business corporation, or if you're looking at a micro business, you tax at a much lower rate. So therefore, it's important that you understand that there are these rates that are available to you, and that you can make use of it to make sure that you minimize your tax obligations. There's also obligations, sorry, Liz. Okay.
No,
there's also obligations such as VAT that one needs to consider. So are you required to register for VAT? Or say there's a voluntary registration, then there's a requirement to register for VAT. So that's something that you need to look at in as well, because sometimes it's beneficial to register for VAT because you can claim back all the input VAT that you paid from SARS. So sometimes people think VAT, no, I'm not going to register, but there's actually could be an advantage, and you could claim back money from SARS on all the input VAT that you pay.
That's so important to mention, Shira, because like you said in the beginning, when people hear tax, they sort of go, oh, I don't want to. But if they go then to the SARS website, I assume that it's very easily explained for an entrepreneur that wants to start. And like you said, sometimes it's actually to the benefit of the entrepreneur with everything that you get back. Is that correct?
Yes, definitely. So if you go into the SARS website, they have all the information with regards to the different taxes, and they have links that you can click on, which will explain to you. So for example, if you want to know what is a micro business, you click on the link and it explains to you what is a micro business, what is turnover tax. It explains to you what is a small business corporation and how a small business corporation will be taxed. And then also we have e-filing. So SARS has e-filing that has been established, and it's something that somebody should register on, because with e-filing, everything becomes easy. You file your returns online, you get all your information, your correspondence from SARS, everything is done online. If you want to know your tax compliance status, you can get that from e-filing. And when you're running a business, you need to be tax compliant, and you need to have your tax clearance certificate, which you would need to present. For example, if you want to get a tender or for foreign investment, you would need that tax clearance certificate, and that you can get from e-filing.
Well, Shira, that sounds easy enough, right? For someone that's not a tax practitioner, right? That sounds easy enough. Are there any other easy ways that you haven't mentioned that entrepreneurs can make sure that they are tax compliant? Or is it the website with the links, that's basically the easiest way and that's where you start?
So I think that is definitely where you start. So I think going to the SARS website, reading up about it, and just seeing what is available, because they have a lot of information on the website which explains to you, especially for entrepreneurs, and if you're starting out a business, what are the requirements. They even take you through the fact that if you want to register with CIPC, they have the link that joins you to the CIPC website to go and register there, and then automatically it can generate an income tax reference number for you. So the website is set out in a very friendly manner that you can access any information that you need from there.
Okay, well, that's good news. For somebody that knows little to nothing to tax, that is brilliant to know. So thank you so much for that, Shira. I see that Helen is back, so that is great. And everybody's back on the table. We apologize for some of the technological issues, but we live in a rapid changing world and we are adapting. So that's brilliant. I think just for my last question is to Sandile then. Sandile, in your opinion, what is the future of entrepreneurship? Sandile, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. The future for me as a marketing person, I think Simba made a point and said, entrepreneurship is one of the factors of production. And so as a factor of production, I think it is going to become very important going forward. If you look at the problem of unemployment, whichever definition you use, the narrow definition or the broad definition, unemployment remains one of the biggest problems. And entrepreneurship remains a solution. And I'm happy to hear, and I fully agree that entrepreneurship is a skill that can also be taught, and our qualifications can help students. And so the future needs to be entrepreneurship. The entrepreneurship discussion needs to be in every household's dinner table. We need to be thinking about how do we get Liz, you spoke about you're never too old to start. That's the future. All of us need to start thinking about entrepreneurship, because I think it is the future. And if you can get that skill at Millpark, come and join us, and we will impart that knowledge on that skill of entrepreneurship.
I think the message of this discussion this morning is very positive. Even sometimes if we get demotivated and we see what's happening out there, the message is still very positive. You're never too old to start. There is large and a large amount of opportunities in the in the business environment for you to get going. Shira mentioned the tourism environment, the tourism sector, which there's a lot of initiatives for. Simba mentioned a lot of funding opportunities for students. So there definitely is hope, and there definitely is a lot of positivity in the country when it comes to entrepreneurship. So what I want to do now is just ask the panel members if they have anything else that they want to add in closing before we ask our students. So students, if you have something to type, or somebody listening, a potential entrepreneur out there, if you have a question, please type it for us in the chat box. But yeah, Shira, Simba, Sandile, Helen, anything else that you would like to add to the discussion on your side? Nothing? Good.
So, sorry, Liz, from my side, I just want to encourage people that come and have a look at our qualifications that we have on BCom and BBA. We have very exciting qualifications, very exciting modules, especially on our BCom. We offer a wide range of streams. So if you want to specialize in a certain stream, there is that option available. And then we also have our BBA General and BCom General, which covers the entrepreneurship module and covers like what we discussed in terms of our accounting. And then even if you want to go and dive in and have a tax module, you can do that as well.
Or for me, more the marketing module.
Yes, definitely.
We'll pivot that way.
Or for some other economics modules.
The economics. No, that's brilliant. Thank you so much, academics. Thank you so much for your time this morning and sharing with us. I really appreciate it. So I'm going to let you go. Thank you so much. And I want to pivot back to Surami. I'm not sure if Surami is online. Surami is our head of school. He is definitely the one that drives the focus in the school when it comes to our vision and our mission and everything that we try to do there. Surami?
He's connecting. He'll be here in a bit.
Okay, brilliant. So maybe while we're back, there's Surami. Surami,
yeah.
Go for it.
Thank you so much, colleagues. I mean, I don't know what to say, but I feel honored to be part of this team, this academic team. I mean, I mentioned earlier on, we've got tax specialists in the School of Commerce, economics, Simba, entrepreneurship, Sandile and Helen. So for me, what I learned is everything now come together. I think we have small dots, but at the end of the day, they all come together to build this one picture that we want to achieve. And when we started this series on Tuesday, one of the panelists said that, I mean, I think for me, it's marketing. We said, how do you market your own small business? I mean, you are small, you don't have a big marketing department. You don't advertise on radio, on TV, it's expensive. But how do you market your product? She said to us, I take a sample. Wherever I have an opportunity to go somewhere, I take whatever I sell and I show that to the people. So for me, it's the connection between today's session as well as Tuesday's one. Yeah, in terms of how best can we empower our students with entrepreneurial skills. For me, marketing is the key. Yeah, and then the other thing, as you mentioned earlier on, I mean, we can do whatever we do, but there are things that are beyond our control, which are at a macro level. COVID came, I mean, before COVID, informal sector was growing and a lot of people were doing their own businesses. And since last year, that number dropped. We had 2.9 million people who were employed in the informal sector in South Africa. And since COVID came, that number has been significantly impacted. So now the ball is in our hands now to say, how can we revive? How can we go back to normality? And I think with the collaboration with the industry and our alumni, we can come up with these sessions, like Sandile said, we need this type of webinars going forward, where we come up with suggestions and solutions to make sure that we come back, we bring back those glory days, if I may put that way. And I think it is possible. We still have 2030 vision from the South African government point of view. And if we come back together from our academic world, we collaborate with professional bodies, with industries, I think we can come back to those days and overcome the storm that has hit us. And I mean, all this needs positive attitude and positive mindset, and I think it is achievable. Our aim as Milpark is to partner with you in your academic journey to make sure that you achieve this goal. 2 weeks ago, someone said South Africa only have 6%, not South Africa, the whole Africa, the population, people who've got degrees is only 6%. I was shocked. I mean, Shaira was there in that session. So we have a duty to play as Milpark to increase that number. As much as you can run your own business, your entrepreneurship, you do your own things. But as Shaira said, there are those little things that you might not know, which are actually to your benefit. As Shaira said, tax return, e-filing, registering, and other stuff. So colleagues, I really appreciate your time and efforts. I know it's busy, it's hectic at this period, but this 1 hour period that you put aside and you became available, for me, it means a lot. And yeah, we are looking forward to hearing from our future students or our current students. If they've got any questions, our lecturers are on standby. Just ask questions and then we'll take it from there. Thank you so much, everybody, and have a good afternoon. Over to you, Somila.
Thank you very much, Serame, and thank you for your team for taking the time and having this discussion. I think I echo your words exactly, that this is the kind of discussions that we should be having in our dinner tables. So, and I'm just so happy to be part of this team, be part of Milpark. So well done to the team, and we look forward to partnering with everyone who's joining us today in their learning journey. And as we head on to 2022, we look forward to welcoming you. And also, we also have DLO Cycle 6 that is closing on the 5th of October. So you still have time. If you still need to register, please make sure apply, register before the 5th of October, and you can start your studies now in 2021. Cool. So that's how we wrap it up this afternoon. And thank you everyone. Have a lovely afternoon. Goodbye.
Bye-bye, everybody.